What's going on, guys? Bruce Madsen here, your host show of Metro Scout Fantasy Football, and today we're going to be going over Daniel Jeremiah's 2.0 mock draft, and we're going to be looking at this through a Dynasty Fantasy Football perspective for our rookie drafts. So, our offensive players that we care about, how are these landing spots going to impact those players? Can we draft them? Is this landing spot going to impact how we're going to view them in the future, how we're going to value them in drafts and whatnot? We've been doing this on the channel these last few weeks, going over these mock drafts, going over these landing spots, just getting an idea of what some of these wide receivers, running backs, and quarterbacks might look like once they set foot at the next level. Jeremiah just dropped this mock draft just about an hour ago, a little less than that. So this one's fresh off the press. It's hot. So we're going to take a look at it. Here's Daniel Jeremiah's mock draft. And here on the headline, they're saying they got Josh Allen, a new playmaker. That's going to be exciting to see. But let's start scrolling down here. Again, we're going to be scrolling over defense and offensive line because we are just looking for players that impact our fantasy teams. First player off the board here for fantasy is Drake London. 7th overall, first wide receiver off the board. A theme that I'm seeing in a lot of these big media mock drafts, I'm talking Mel Kiper, Todd McShay, Daniel Jeremiah, is Drake London's usually the wide receiver 1. New York Giants currently is not the best landing spot for wide receivers. You're talking about Danny Dimes there. However, things can change rapidly. I think Drake London's got the talent to be a high-end wide receiver. Thing about Danny Dimes, he's not afraid to sling it, and with a talent like London, that could work really well. On the flip side, things could go haywire. They are the Giants, not the best ran franchise, but this is a good piece going forward. And if Daniel Jones doesn't work out, they're bringing in another quarterback. Moving on to the next player, scrolling down here, scrolling over these defensive and offensive line, I'm telling you, it is thick on that other side of the ball. Here we go. Wide receiver 2 off the board. Chris Olave to the Chargers. This is a fabulous landing spot. He's going to be shooting up boards if he goes to the Chargers. Everybody's waiting to see who is going to be Justin Herbert's next target. Chris Olave's value in Dynasty, Redraft, Fantasy, Devy has been slumping as of late. This is going to boost it up a lot because this is a landing spot people have been keeping their eyes on. Keenan Allen's not getting younger. Chris Olave is a very nuanced player. He could slide into that spot in the next few years or slide into another role, but there's a lot of targets to go around this offense. High volume, good efficiency from the quarterback position. Good spot here for Chris Olave. Next pick, Kenny Pickett to the Saints. I don't really love this spot for any quarterback just because the turmoil the Saints are going through with the cap. Kenny Pickett as a prospect, I'm not really in love with him either. I'm not really in love with this quarterback class in general. Superflex, with him going to the Saints, you know he's going to get the opportunity to prove himself sooner than later, so that's going to hold some value. Him being the first quarterback off the board is going to hold some value. However, he's outside the top 10 here. That is a low draft position for a first-round quarterback, so I'm going to weigh that in. I think Superflex this year, you're going to weigh the skill players a lot heavier compared to previous seasons. Kenny Pickett, though, he'll at least get the opportunity to prove himself. What is the Saints going to do with this cap situation? What are they going to do with the veterans? How are they going to bring in talent? Move on to the next piece here. Philadelphia Eagles select Garrett Wilson, and we're seeing a lot of mock drafts where the Eagles are drafting wide receiver again, and this would be 3 years in a row they picked wide receiver in the first round. Garrett Wilson is a good candidate for this spot. I mean, you're looking at a good mix of Devonta Smith and Garrett Wilson. See what happens with the third wide receiver spot with like Quez Watkins and company. Then you got to think Jalen Hurts and his development, him being able to spread the ball around. Jalen Hurts does need some new toys in the offense. They need to make an improvement here. However, on the flip side of that, are they really going to draft wide receiver 3 years in a row in the first round? We also have a strong free agency class at wide receiver, so that's something you put in question. Garrett Wilson to the Eagles. Again, I'm not bumping him down my board just because he's going to be sharing this field with Devonta Smith. A lot of people question Jalen Hurts' ability to spread the rock. I like Garrett Wilson. He's probably going to stay at my wide receiver 2, wide receiver 1 range throughout drafts. But I'll happily take the discount if people are crying that the sky is falling. Moving down, next pick. We're going fantasy focused in these last 4 picks here. Steelers draft Malik Willis. Really in love with this. I think this is a great spot for him. He's got people to throw the ball to. Chase Claypool, Deontay Johnson, Pat Freiermuth, Najee Harris to hand the ball off. This is a good place for him to develop. I would love it if he fell this far to the Steelers. I think this is a good developmental spot. They got veteran quarterbacks in place that they're talking about using early. So maybe this is with the assumption that they're going to allow him to develop a little bit. But in the forecast of this, he's going to be able to take snaps sooner than later when you look at their quarterback depth chart as of right now. I like this Malik Willis. If he's going to hit, he's going to have some receivers with him, and this is a good spot for him. Fantasy, QB1, easy because of the rushing, and now he's got guys to throw the ball to. I think whoever goes to the Steelers or Denver, they're going to have the rise in their draft stock for Dynasty and rookie drafts. Let's move on down to the next pick. We're getting back part of this first round here. And boom, Treylon Burks to the Bills, giving Josh Allen a thick target to throw the ball to. Stephon Diggs isn't getting any younger. People don't want to think about that, but he's like 28 years old. Treylon Burks can get downfield. He can get you after the catch abilities. People are clamoring over Gabriel Davis, but the thing is, Bills are pretty solid all over the board and may have their holes and stuff, but they can use this luxury to make the offense more explosive. This is something they could do with Treylon Burks. I would love this spot for him. I would love him paired with Josh Allen because they can use Burks as a deep threat. Josh Allen's going to sling it down to him, and then they can also use his after the catch abilities. I think this is a good pair for him. Wide receiver 1 all day, every day. Burks if he goes to the Bills. Move on down. Jameson Williams to the Bucks. I've seen him mocked here before. This is going to be an interesting spot depending on what they do at quarterback. Mike Evans is there to take some pressure off him early on, and he will get some time to get worked into the offense due to that ACL injury. So it'll probably be like mid-year next year when we see him full-fledged working with the team. I think this is a decent spot for him. I think this is going to give him an opportunity for growth. This also indicates Chris Godwin's gone, which he probably is. They're probably not bringing him back. So Jameson Williams filling that void in hopes that he's getting the targets. Those underneath guys on the depth chart hasn't been clamoring too much, so there's a good chance that he rises to the top of the depth chart. Now he just got to seize those opportunities. I still see him, with him being a first-round pick, with him being so explosive last year, being a first-rounder in rookie drafts this year. Moving down. And that is it. So our last player to speculate on was Jameson Williams. Overall, some good draft spots on this mock draft for us to discuss. Let me know which players that you're interested in from this mock draft, what landing spots you like, or landing spots in general. Just drop it like it's hot in the comments. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe on the way out. Every subscription fuels me to keep putting out this content, going over tape, the metrics, the mock drafts, everything I can get my hands on pretty much. But again, I want to thank you, and I'll catch you next time.